Hey guys, I'm so excited today to talk to you about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, I really liked Afterlife. I really had so much fun with that. I really enjoyed the new cast and the mix of old nostalgia with new stuff and still giving that feel of classic Ghostbusters. And let me tell you, the Frozen Empire really continues that. This movie is a lot of fun. We get a lot of really cool ghosts, a lot of great visual effects, and the villain, especially towards the end when you really get to see the villain. The villain is amazing. Love the additional cast members. Can't talk too much about it for fear of spoilers, but I will say they all are really, really amazing, especially Kumail Nanjiani. He's chef's kiss phenomenal. I mean, what else would you expect from him? He's so good. Now, I really also enjoyed kind of getting, Phoebe and Trevor and the Spanglers all together. Paul Rudd is great as always, of course, and I love the kind of family dynamic that they have. Because we've already had it pretty much established towards the end of Afterlife, we really get to dive into that family aspect in this one. There's a very touching moment towards the end. Had me a little teary, had me a little bit of my feels. I don't want to talk too much about it for fear of spoilers again, but you guys will know what I'm talking about when you get there. Now, here's the thing. I do feel like this was a little bit long, and I do feel like it took a little bit long to get there, especially. Could have been tightened up a little more. The beginning was kind of, okay, like it would take a little too long to get to where it's going. Now, I will say when it comes to the comedy, it really hits. I didn't really have many moments where I was like, oh, that's supposed to be a joke and it's not funny. I will say for parents out there, there's some sexual talk in this one. There's a fair amount of jokes that have to do with innuendos and sex, but it's really funny. I found them to be hilarious. I took my 11 and 12-year-old daughters, and I think it was fine for them, but I also let them watch a lot of stuff. I'm not as, strict on what they see, and it's like jokes. You don't see anything. It's just jokes. It's words. But there is those moments there. So for those of you who maybe haven't had the conversation with your kids yet, or they don't know what that is, maybe don't have them watch this movie because they definitely talk about it. There's a section where there's back to back jokes about it. So just keep that in mind. Now we do get the adorable little mini Stay Puffs, which I was so excited to see them return, and they're just as bananas as ever. They're just as, I don't know if they're like suicidal or malicious or whatever. They're violent. They're definitely violent, and they still have that violent feel to them, but it's great. It's so good. They're hilarious. Speaking of, there is a mid-credit scene. It's more just a funny mid-credit scene, but there is one, so stay tuned for that. It's definitely worth it. Definitely entertaining. Now, the movie as a whole is great. Like I said, it's a little slow to start, and it's a little long. So if they could have nipped some things, cut a few little moments, made it maybe 145, even just under 2, because it's like a little over 2. I think that would have been better, but I'm not mad at it. There was nothing that stood out to me like, oh, I wish they would have cut this out. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it overall. I had a lot of fun. This is a fun movie, especially the third act. The third act is great. The ending is great. Dan Aykroyd is a major part of this movie, which made me very, very excited. He's a big part. He has a big role. It was very exciting to see that. We know from the trailers that Bill Murray is in this, and I could always use more Bill Murray in my life. So I was a little bummed at how little he's in this, but when he is in it, it's fantastic. There's, of course, several other cameos that are great in here. We get Annie Potts, who's phenomenal. Love seeing her as well. I mean, lots of great stuff. Lots of callbacks to the original Ghostbusters, right? But then we get a lot of new Ghostbusters stuff in here. Like I said, a lot of new cast members who are great. Kumail is so good in this. He's so great. I absolutely loved him. He's hilarious. Comedy really, truly hits all throughout this movie, which is important in a film like this. But when you get to the visual effects and the villain, like I said, the villain is great. But let me tell you how cool the villain looks. The villain looks really awesome. I love the style of the villain that we get, and I love the movements of the villain that we get, which you'll understand when you see it. Really enjoyed the villain in this. Loved even just the motivations behind the villain were really good, and it was weaved into the story really well. Finn Wolfhard is great. I think he's great. I've always enjoyed his acting. I just wish we got, again, a little more of him. Same with Slimer. Slimer's always been kind of a little bit. And if you guys have seen the trailer, you know he's in it. But of course, we didn't get as much Slimer. I could always use more Slimer in my life, right? Always. So we got what we got, and I'm not mad at it. But I would have loved just a little bit more, just a tiny bit, but he does have some key great moments in this movie. Listen, I had a lot of fun with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I think that Ghostbusters fans are really going to have a blast with it. My biggest complaint is that it takes a little while to get where it's going, and it's a little too long. There's a lot of like, hey, this is where things are going. Hey, this is what's going to happen. Just so you know, if you didn't know already, this is what's going to happen. You know, a lot of that stuff where they're like trying to lay the breadcrumbs, but they're like really laying a whole dang loaf of bread for you to figure it out. It's very much Phoebe's story, very much a family story, and I really enjoyed what happened with Phoebe in this. McKenna Grace is incredible as well. We get a lot of great moments with her. Like I said, this is really a family story, and I had fun with it, and I really, really enjoyed the villain, the motivations behind the villain, the story there. I had a blast. Listen, I give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's fun enough. Yes, it has some issues, but it's really good. It's really entertaining. It looks great. The comedy hits, and I think families, that just keep in mind, there's that sex stuff, but again, you don't see anything. It's literally just some jokes, but there is like one after another at one part. They're hilarious and great, and I adored them. I was cracking up, but they are there. But I do think this is going to be a great time at the movies. I think Ghostbusters fans are going to have a blast, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. You let me know down below if you're excited for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. If you've already seen Ghostbusters Frozen Empire by the time you got to this review, it hits theaters on March 22nd. Let me know what you've thought about it down below in the comments. You guys can follow me over on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and you guys can check me out at MamasGeeky.com. Thanks. I'll see you next time.